The land. Do you know how countries are created? The United States today is a powerful country, but 250 years ago, it didn't exist. In the beginning, it was only a very large and beautiful land between two oceans. American Indians. American Indians lived in the Americas at that time. They had their own languages and ways of living. Most of them were nomadic or semi-nomadic. The European explorers. A few years after Columbus found the Americas, other European explorers discovered the land in the north of the Americas. The British settled on the east coast as colonists. They considered the new land, which would become the United States, as part of Britain. They built homes and started new lives. They established new colonies. The first British colony. The first British colony was established in 1586, and the whole area was called Virginia after Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen. Later, when James I was king, he sent a group of people to find gold. In 1607, the British colonists founded the first permanent town, calling it Jamestown, after their king. They didn't find gold. After a year, half of them had died from disease, starvation, or attacks by the American Indians. The Mayflower. A group of British people called the Pilgrims didn't like the Church of England. Because they wanted to have their own religion, they left England in a ship called the Mayflower. They landed in a new region they called New England. Life for the Pilgrims was very hard due to the cold winters. Farming was not as easy as in the warmer South. Sometimes they did not have enough food. Friendly American Indians taught them how to plant local seeds. Some colonists started fishing and shipbuilding, and others had shops. The 13 British Colonies. The British settled in many more places. Soon, there were 13 colonies protected by British soldiers. The colonists lived in farms or towns connected to ports where supplies from England arrived. In the South, the farms were called plantations. They were very large because the colonists began to grow cotton and tobacco. As they needed people to work in the plantations, people were brought in from Africa as slaves. Some colonists did not like people having slaves, which led to a big war many years later. The British born in America. At first, the colonists traded with the American Indians. Later, as they wanted land, the British Americans fought the American Indians, who either died or went west. In time, many British Americans began to feel different from the British in England. They loved their new land. They were proud of their towns like Boston, New York, and Philadelphia, and of their plantations in Virginia. The British Americans opposed the king. The British Americans were upset because of taxation without representation. They did not have any representatives in British Parliament, but they had to pay British taxes on goods they bought from England. They rebelled when King George III called for more taxes. Soon the British Americans split in two, the Patriots and the Loyalists. The Patriots wanted to be independent from Britain, but the Loyalists thought it was better to obey the king. The Boston Tea Party. One night, disguised as American Indians, the Patriots attacked a British ship in Boston and threw 342 crates of tea into the sea. The British were very angry because now they couldn't collect the tax or sell the tea. The king decided to punish the city of Boston and suspended all trade. The Patriots considered this an intolerable act. It took away their freedom to trade and travel. The American Revolution. The Patriots now wanted total freedom and decided to fight the British. British soldiers came to fight the Patriots, and a war began, the American Revolution. The first battles happened very close to Boston at Lexington and Concord. The Founding Fathers. The Patriots were only about 1/3 of the population, but they were led by very intelligent and brave men. Some of them are considered the founding fathers of what would become the United States of America. Benjamin Franklin got help from France. George Washington became the military chief, and Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence. The Patriots got together in Philadelphia to form the Continental Congress. They declared their independence from Britain. The 13 colonies became an independent country. And this is how, on the 4th of July of 1776, the United States of America was born. The new flag was red, white, and blue. It had 13 stripes and 13 stars to represent the 13 colonies that started the nation. The Constitution of the United States. Even though independence was declared, fighting continued for many more years. Finally, the Patriots won the war, and a peace treaty was signed. In 1787, the Constitution, with rules for their new government, was written. The First President. In 1789, George Washington became the first president. He is called the Father of the United States because he made the birth of a new country possible. In time, the United States would grow, taking the best from its mother Britain and its American father. It would become a great and powerful country, but that is another story.